My people, wahala no dey finish o. You see for Ooni of Ife palace, it is everyday gbas. Anywhere it is expected, you cannot just gather ant-infested firewood and you will not expect lizard to come and dance. It is not possible. According to wetin we dey hear right now, allegedly, they say there have been serious gbas, serious altercation between Olori Mariam and Dr. Elizabeth. And the reason for this is because they said that Olori Mariam accused Dr. Elizabeth wrongly. We do know that ever since Dr. Elizabeth enters the palace, it looks as if she has taken over the king's heart. You know, before Dr. Elizabeth came, it was Mariam who is always in charge of everything. It looks as if Mariam was the one calling the shots. But ever since Dr. Elizabeth stepped in, a lot of things changed. A whole lot changed. Dr. Elizabeth took over. I don't know if it is because she have money more than Mariam, or maybe because of her character, because from what we heard, she have proven that she had home training, that her parents trained her very well, irrespective of the fact that she is wealthy, as in wealthier than Mariam. If I should use that word. So ever since she enters, she have been like Ooni of Ife's handbag. The only two people that the king talks about always happens to be this Queen Naomi and Dr. Elizabeth. And that has become a very big problem for Mariam. We heard that Dr. Elizabeth left the palace, because of things are not working out the way she was expecting it and all of that. And ever since then, everybody have been pleading with her to return back to the palace, including the king's father and the brothers, the sister, everyone. They said all of them are begging her to return back to the palace, both Diola or even Queen Naomi, because they know that she is not just the good wife to the king, but also the king's doctor. We heard that she's also a doctor, and she is taking care of the king's health. So, but Mariam, on the other side, have been pushed out of the palace. She left the palace on her own. Nobody was worried about whether she returns or not. Then when she returned, they asked her to go back to wherever she was coming from. Irony of life. When Dr. Elizabeth left on her own, they were pleading to her to come back. Mariam left and came back, they pushed her back. This life, balance at all. Balance. One thing in this life is that it is good to be good. Do good things, the reward will surely come. In as much as everybody will not like you, everybody will not love you, because at some point, Dr. Elizabeth's co-wives, they started seeing her as a hypocrite who is pretending and all of that. But her goodwill, her good works are now paving ways for her. Yes, so because had it been she is behaving like Mariam, now that she left, nobody will care if she returns back to the palace or not, let alone going to beg her to return. You know? So, as it is right now, if Mariam or Ronke should leave the palace, I'm sure the family will go for Thanksgiving, because God have taken away their problems. Allegedly, allegedly. Now, so we dey hear them. Okay? I do not live in the palace. Always bear that in mind. So they said what made Dr. Elizabeth to fire back at Mariam this time is because Mariam have come out to accuse Olori Elizabeth that she is just faking this Incubus spirit, that it is not real, that it is fake, that instead of her to say that she wants to be getting closer to her husband, she is using the spirit of Incubus and Succubus to go closer to the king. That is exactly the same thing Tobi was doing then. Tobi will always say she's afraid, she's having nightmare, this and that. She will go and sleep with the king today, sleep with the king tomorrow, sleep with the king. Now, Tobi have ended up with a set of twins. That Dr. Elizabeth should say the truth, that they should stop deceiving themselves, lying to themselves that there is any spirit of incubus and succubus. I don't know if you remember when Dr. Elizabeth enters the palace newly. After marrying her, they said it was just few days, abi that night sef that she enters the palace. She couldn't sleep in her room. Reason was because they said whenever she's sleeping, something will be hypnotizing her, telling her to leave the palace. And they call it sleep paralysis. But here in Africa, they call it spirit of incubus and succubus. All these witches and wizards that flies at night. So when this thing keep attacking Dr. Elizabeth, she decided to be sleeping in her husband's bed. Maybe it is not attacking her while she was sleeping with the king. Of course, those things they will not dare to enter the king's chambers. If not, the king will deal with them or even suspend them from the village. Or even them is how do they put it? Gbara ha ọgbọ nwa mkpe. So they said Dr. Elizabeth have been using that opportunity to be sleeping with the king ever since she enters the palace. And before you know it, it looks as if the king have fallen completely for Dr. Elizabeth. And that is something that is disturbing Mariam too much. Here, Mariam is complaining that there are some of the wives, that for 2, 3 months, 4 months, they will not have the opportunity of meeting with their husband. And after everything, the husband will expect them to give him children. That Dr. Elizabeth and the rest of them, they should stop lying to themselves that there is no spirit of incubus or succubus attacking her in any way, that she is just framing it just to be with the king, that they are all lies and fake. Hey! They say when Dr. Elizabeth hears this one, she couldn't hold it though. She couldn't hold it, that she have to fire back to Mariam, telling Mariam that, look, I am not you. I don't live fake life. I don't live lies. My life is not full of lies. You are fake. You abandon your children. You abandon your ex-husband. All because you want to marry the king. Eh? Okay, now come on, marry now. My people, don't be smart. They say the kind mind goes between these two people, that as in Dr. Elizabeth could not even believe that Mariam will open her mouth to say this. Because the thing is that when Dr. Elizabeth enters the palace, there has been serious goes. As a matter of fact, it was Mariam who begged Dr. Elizabeth. They say most time Mariam will even visit Dr. Elizabeth's house to beg her to come and marry her husband. Imagine when a woman is begging another woman to come and marry her husband just because she don't want Queen Naomi to return back. She thought she was fighting Queen Naomi. Now, who is fighting who? And I believe had it been the king did not go for Dr. Elizabeth, maybe by now Queen Naomi would have been back. All of them would have been in that palace without fighting and all of. Even if they will fight anyway because they don't love Queen Naomi, but at least it will be less. Guys, I want to remind you that these are all alleged information, okay? Always bear that in mind. Tell me what you think about it on the comment section. Subscribe to my channel, follow my page, share this video, and comment. Bye. I love you guys.